So you want an iPhone. Great. Well, there's a catch though. Do you want to spend 60, 70, 80, $90 a month? Probably not. For the rest of us who can't spend that money, Apple has come out with the new iPod Touch 4th generation. The iPod Touch 4th generation mimics the iPhone in a lot of its qualities and capabilities. It is not as nice as the iPhone, especially the new iPhone 4, but it does serve its purpose for those of us who can't afford to spend an obscene amount of money on a contract. The iPod Touch 4th generation comes in three variations: the 8 GB for $229.99, the 32 GB for $299.99, and the 64 GB for $399.99 or $400. Um, Functionally, they are exactly the same across all variations, which was major kudos to Apple for doing that. But for $299.99 is probably your best price option to get the 32 gig if you plan on doing any video recording or different things that we'll be going into in a little while. The 8 GB is a little bit overpriced considering what it does, but if you don't necessarily have a lot of music or you just want this for the sake of using it as like a mini PDA or something like that, then it can be a good option. 64 GB is if you are OCD and like to carry around all your music all the time. Now, moving on, the iPod Touch 4th generation carries a new body design compared to the last iPod Touch. The screen, for instance, has been darkened on the inside, which is a nice touch, makes it look more professional. The design has been slimmed down a little bit compared to the last iPod Touch. In fact, I actually have my old iPod Touch right here. Compare the two. It's a little bit hard to make out on the video, but as you can see, this one is a little bit thinner. I do have my white zag skin on the back of this. Normally you still have the same chrome as this, for example. One of the defining new features about the iPod Touch 4th generation is the camera on the back. You will probably not want to be doing any major recording with it, although it is a decent camera. It does, let's just say the HD moniker that they put it under is not totally accurate. Your videos are still going to be a little bit choppy. The sensors in this are nowhere near as quality as the new iPhone. You do have a built-in microphone, so you can do voice recordings, play with apps that do make use of the voice recording. It does give a lot of static and noise, and some of the iPod Touches do have a clicking problem, but other than that, it is a nice little upgrade that allows you to make VoIP calls if you ever want to do that for some odd reason in Wi-Fi. Functionally, it is almost exactly the same as the previous generation. You still have your volume buttons, which have been separated compared to the last one. You have your sleep-wake button, which has been moved from this side to this side, and you have your home button, which feels slightly more indented into the device. You have a speaker grill down here, and you have your headphone jack right here. The sync spot is right here. Functionally, it is a very well thought out device. One of the new features compared to the last model is the new Retina display. Just slide this out. The Retina display, it's kind of hard to display how great it is on a video, but it is a lot clearer than the last generation. This is still a touch panel, 3.5 inches in length. Works very well. It comes with an amazing amount of apps. You have full access to the App Store. What else? You've got your front-facing camera for FaceTime. FaceTime is effortless, works very well. It's done over email. Your iPhone, you can use numbers. But for those with us with an iPod Touch, you do use email. While you're on Wi-Fi, you have access to a host of capabilities such as internet, Safari, email, music you can use anytime you want. One of the new features of the iPod Touch 4th generation is multitasking, where you can switch between apps. So like, let's just say I want to go to my mail app, so I'm going to click that. Okay, let's go. So I'm in my mail app right now, but let's just say I get bored of mail and I want to go to settings. So let's go to settings. Well, it just took me to settings instantly. It works very well. Compared to the 3G and 3GS, this does not lag at all. I know some people have complained of lagging. I personally have never experienced it, but problems out there. Screen is nice. This is a little bit cheaper of a design than the last one. It looks nice, but compared to this device, this just feels better in the hand, more sturdy, Like, you're not going to be scared to drop this one compared to this one. If you drop this one, you are likely going to blow the screen apart. So be very careful with it. It does fit into the hand well. It just kind of feels a little bit flimsy. They have replaced this overarching metal that goes around the sides with a rubber gasket similar to the MacBook Pros. This has led to light leaks, especially on the volume buttons. Some people have complained the leaks are here, here, here. If you have light leaks, I'm still trying to find out if it is a major cosmetic defect. I'm not sure, or is it just a problem that you can overlook. I know they look pretty ugly, but it's up to you whether or not you want to keep it. If I were you, I would definitely look into getting a case regardless, because although you're not going to get that great slim factor, you probably won't have to worry as much if you drop it. Let's see what else. You have full access to iOS 4.1, which includes wallpapers, multitasking, the whole 9 yards. Very functional, very nice. Just a very good device in general. I mean, you have so many capabilities compared to other MP3 players out there. It's kind of, I wouldn't necessarily call it a game changer because of the array of smartphones out there right now, but there really isn't a product like it on the market right now if you're just looking for an MP3 player. Eventually we're going to have the Android coming in, and then we'll see more competition. It'll be interesting to see what Apple does to respond to that. But for now, if you're looking for an MP3 player that could basically do it all, internet, basically like a PDA, definitely look into the iPod Touch 4th generation. There's just so many games, so many little different things you can do with it. It's kind of amazing. Now, there is one little thing that annoys me kind of. This back is a natural heat sink, so when you're holding it into your hands, just holding it regularly, it does get hot. And when it does get hot, it gets annoying. It feels like things on fire sometimes. Aside from that, love the device. Just wish Apple would stop. You can get so small and start maybe bulking it up. Not necessarily bulking up it again, but just making it feel more sturdy. Other than that, very good price. If I were you, I'd go for the 32 gig if you plan to do HD video recording with it, because the 32 gig, you see, for every 10 minutes you take recording, you're looking at about a gig taken for space. So if you intend on doing any length of recording with your new HD camera on the back, I would definitely think about getting a 32 gig. Other than that, this is the iPod Touch 4th generation. Very good MP3 player. Definitely recommend it. Thank you.